Most people spend their entire lives trying to be liked, and that is exactly why they never become powerful. Not powerful in the way the world sells it, the noise, the status, the performance, but powerful in the way that actually matters, unshakable, unbothered, impossible to manipulate. What you're about to hear isn't motivation, it's something older, something most people are too afraid to practice. Section 1, the problem. Here is the quiet tragedy of modern life. Most people are extraordinarily sensitive to the opinions of others. They adjust their words before they speak. They silence their instincts before they act. They shrink, slowly, consistently, until the version of themselves walking through the world is barely a shadow of what they actually are, and they don't even notice it happening. Think about this. How many decisions did you make this week based on what someone else might think? How many times did you pause, not because you were unsure, but because you were afraid of judgment? This is the invisible cage, and most people die inside it. Section 2, reaction versus thought. The human brain is wired for survival, not wisdom. When we feel threatened, socially, emotionally, professionally, the mind doesn't reach for philosophy. It reaches for defense, for approval, for escape. This is why most people react instead of respond. Reaction is biological. Response is earned. A person insults you in front of others. The untrained mind immediately searches for a comeback, a defense, a way to restore the ego's wounded pride. But here's what nobody tells you. The moment you react from ego, you have already lost. Not the argument, something far more important. You've lost control of yourself. And a person who cannot control themselves can be control broken. They become emotional weather vanes, spinning in whatever direction the wind blows. Carl Jung called this living through the persona, the mask we build for the world, rather than the self. When the mask is threatened, we experience it as if our soul is under attack. Pause for a moment. Ask yourself honestly, when someone criticizes your work, do you hear information, or do you hear a verdict on your value as a human being? That confusion is the trap, and most people never escape it. Section 5, the mindset shift. The shift is simple to understand and terrifying to practice. Stop needing to be understood. Start needing to understand yourself. When you no longer require external validation to feel stable, something extraordinary happens. People lose their leverage over you. Criticism becomes data. Rejection becomes direction. The things that used to wound you start to pass through you like wind through an open window. Epictetus, a man who was born a slave and became one of the most powerful minds in history, understood this. He said, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." He had nothing, no freedom, no status, no comfort, and yet he was untouchable because his interior world was entirely his own. That is the lesson. Section 6, real life, real stakes. Imagine this situation. You've worked for months on a project. You present it. Someone dismisses it publicly, coldly, in front of people whose opinion matters to you. The ordinary response is collapse or aggression. Both are surrenders. The Stoic response is different. You listen, you evaluate. If their criticism holds truth, you absorb it without shame, because growth requires honesty, not ego protection. If it holds no truth, you release it. What they need is to become good, internally structured, philosophically grounded, psychologically sovereign. Seneca wrote with frightening clarity about time, the one resource humans waste without realizing its cost. He said most people live as though they will live forever, postponing the inner work, the honest self-examination, the decision to actually govern their own minds. If this perspective resonates with you, If something in this conversation feels like a mirror, consider subscribing. These ideas go deeper every week, and the people who stay are the ones who are genuinely building something inward. Section 8. The questions that change things. Look honestly at your life right now. Who are you performing for? Whose voice lives in your head that was never yours to begin with? A parent's fear, a teacher's doubt, a culture's narrow definition of what you should be. How much energy do you spend managing how you appear versus developing who you actually are? And here is the question that cuts deepest. If no one was watching, would you live differently? If the answer is yes, that gap between who you are in public and who you are in private, that is where your work begins. Section 9. The long game. Here is what happens over time when a person genuinely practices this. They become unmanipulable, not cold, not closed, but rooted in a way that chaos cannot reach. When others escalate, they stay level. When others panic, they think. When others need an audience, they need only their own judgment. This is not arrogance. Arrogance is fragile. It needs constant feeding. This is something quieter and far more durable. It is the kind of presence that people feel before they can name it. A stillness that commands respect not because it demands it, but because it doesn't need it. And that distinction between demanding respect and deserving it is everything. The most dangerous person in any room is not the loudest. It is not the most aggressive, the most decorated, the most followed. It is the person who knows exactly who they are and cannot be talked out of it. That person doesn't need to win every argument. They don't need to be understood by everyone. They don't need the approval of people who have never done the inner work themselves. They have something rarer. They have themselves. Fully, honestly, without apology. Marcus Aurelius, at the end of one of his journal entries, wrote something that reads less like the words of an emperor and more like a quiet instruction for living. Confine yourself to the present, not the past where regret lives, not the future where anxiety waits. Here, now, this moment of becoming, that is where the untouchable person always stands. Begin there.